Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Daily Market Update Show. And today we'll be looking at QQQ, SPY, as well as Nvidia, Tesla, Apple, Amazon, and Google and Microsoft. So today was quite a bullish day. As you guys can see on the heat map, the breadth is actually quite well as well. You can see it's not only our big tech stocks that are moving the market, as well as every other sector in the S&P 500 are also moving, except the healthcare XLV is slightly red, but that's okay. So you can see we're S&P is up 1.1%, QQ is up 1.7, and the leader for today is the semiconductor sector. Semiconductor sector is usually the fuel for QQQ. So if SMH is leading, then QQQ is likely going to be going up as well, following SMH. So same thing, vice versa. So if QQQ goes down, usually SMH goes down more than QQQ. And you can see the VIX is still at all-time lows. And due to we never had a day where all sectors are money rotating out of every single sector, meaning every sector has to be red at the same time. We haven't had that in months. So we just got to be cautious, even though we are overbought on a lot of time frames. The market is still healthy in terms of all the trends overall. Until it shows us some weakness and some cracks, um, we will continue to follow the trend, and we'll take a look at the charts and see if there's any cracks in the second, and we'll take a look at the sentiment data. So we'll get this again this Thursday, and as of now, it's been 3 weeks bullish. So end of the month, a lot of rebalancing going on. So we'll see if what happens when July starts. As well as Trend Greed Index, we are back to extreme greed. Yesterday we ticked to greed. Now we're back to extreme greed. And let's take a look at the charts for more understanding of where the market might go. So today QQ is up 1.7%, and it might seem like a day where everything just goes up, even though everything was going up. We gotta be cautious that we're still haven't broken this prior pivot right there. You can see this 364.84 high. If we haven't broken this pivot, then the structure of the chart hasn't really changed back to the bulls yet. As you guys can see, we're on the daily chart now, and you can see this is one straight move still. No candle has closed above or gone above the prior candle yet. You can see we almost did right here. I wouldn't count that at all. It's just too little. So this is one move down, and today you can see today's bar is completely inside yesterday's bar. So that's the inside bar. Until we break that 364.84 high, and we have shaping up a pivot that could potentially be setting the higher low or enough bounce where now the bulls are looking for that next higher low to be buying the dip. Tomorrow is going to be very key, and Jerome's going to be speaking tomorrow. I don't think he's going to be affecting the market that much, but on the smaller time frames, you might get stop out just because whatever he said. Sometimes on the 5-minute time frame, or the 2-minute time frame, it may have a big candle in either direction. So just be aware of that. So the key for me tomorrow is potentially when we do break above today's candle, then we are setting the lower high, meaning this high is going to be lower than the prior pivot high. So how are we going to know when the lower high is going to be set? We'll have to zoom into the hourly time frame. So let's say tomorrow we get a green day, right? We bounce over here, and bulls chop around here, and the next thing we know, we get the hourly downtrend confirming. Then that will mark the lower high on a daily time frame. So one move, and that would mark the lower high if we get an hourly downtrend there. If we don't, then and we have a big enough bounce for the bulls, very likely scenario that the next drop is going to set the higher low, meaning this low, pivot low, is higher than prior pivot low. So this next bounce is going to be key for us to see how big that bounce is going to be. So let's take a measure from the top to bottom, and we already broke above the 0.382, meaning we have negated the daily bear flag from this top of this A to the bottom of this B move. As long as we're above 0.382, usually bear flag is negated. And if we are above 0.5, then on the next drop, the most likely scenario would be that lower high. We aren't above the 50% retracement yet, so we'll see. We might say we open up tomorrow higher. We might this might act as resistance to the 50% retracement, and then that could potentially set the lower high and potentially give us a daily downtrend. We don't, as of now, no signs of that yet. Hourly trend will be our guide, so we will continue to be following our hourly trend. Technically, I would say we do have an hourly uptrend here, but most of these price actions are in the pre-market and after hours, so it's not as substantial for me. What I want to see is something like this during market hours. Bears confirmed a hourly downtrend here, but nevertheless, we are in a neutral trend on the hourly. If we do count this as an hourly uptrend, then I want to see us break this pivot for the bulls. Because this is a triple top right there. You can see this triple top resistance. Could not break it over here on Wednesday. Did break over here, but came back under it the next day when market opened. Resistance again here, resistance again here, and resistance again here. Right. So when we come back to it, it's going to be very key for us to break that. And where'd it go? And we briefly touched it, but key for me is still this candle's high for acting as the pivot. 364.4. Well, if we do start rejecting down from there, then it's a rejection from a quadruple top tomorrow, and we're slightly right after hour. I mean, it makes sense. We ran all day. This is not that big of a deal. I mean, for all 0.13% is nothing. QQQ. We'll take a look at Apple in a second, and we'll see potentially Apple's rising wedge may shape up, and we may get a little bit of more downside from Apple, and potentially this could drag down QQQ. All right. So for the bulls, you guys want to break up of this. For the bears, low of yesterday would be key for you guys to break. And this 3.8. Sorry, this is 359 or 360. Sorry, this 357.59 right there. Want to break that for the bears. This level pretty much coincides with the top high of this level. So if we do, we are coming back down to this structure, this triple top structure. So let me adjust this a little bit to the top of the structure. Yeah, which coincides exactly with this structure. And let's take a look at SPY. SPY on the same thing. We haven't broken above this pivot, but we have broken above this pivot. So technically SPY is stronger than QQQ today in terms of the overall chart. So now, same thing for the hourly trend. You can say this is an hourly uptrend now, or you can negate the pre-market or after hour and just says this is one move. And now I want to see and now this is the pivot set. I want to see a change during market hours. It's up to you. But we are definitely back in a neutral trend because we have negated the downtrend, broken above the prior pivot. Hourly downtrend broke above the prior pivot. Now it's negated. So now it's in a neutral trend. All right, let's take a zoom out to see the structure of SPY. So SPY, you can see this is one move down, and now there is a candle above the prior candle. So now, when do we know this? Is SPY going to go to test 52 week highs, or SPY is going to set a lower high, meaning this high is going to be lower than this high. So we tell where the most likely scenario is going to be for that lower high coming in. If we do set a lower high and break yesterday's low, then we have a daily downtrend. So let's zoom into the hourly. Let's say tomorrow we drop in the morning and bounce a little bit in the afternoon and confirm a daily downtrend. Sorry, hourly downtrend. On the hourly, then I would say that is the lower high set on the daily chart for me. So if that hourly downtrend confirms tomorrow, over there, then this is the lower high for me on the daily time frame for SPY. And that's when bears will come in. So if you set, for example, the hourly downtrend is set here, bears will start adding, and you likely set your stop loss at the high of that pivot. And if you're wrong, let's say bull buys back the dip, then you just get stopped out. If you're right, then that would potentially come from a daily downtrend. You'll likely take profit over here, this zone right here, because this would act as quite strong support, at least initially. When we come down to it, it will likely bounce somewhat. We don't know how far it's going to bounce, but it will likely hold this support in the very first time we test this area. This support zone would be 330 to this 430 to 428 level. Yeah, so hourly uptrend, downtrend would be our guide in this next couple of days. It's going to be key. QQQ hasn't even set the lower high yet. You can see QQ still one full move on the on its move, just one move. None of the candle has closed above the prior one, so we'll wait until see if QQQ does. But before that, we'll have to take a look at the other big tech stocks, see if there's any cracks in the market. All right, Nvidia also an inside bar. You can see this bar is inside yesterday's bar. As long as we don't get above 420 again, bears should be fine, because that is the key support from weeks ago and acting as key support. It's a triple bottom, and once we broke that, you can see this flush. Now, gold spot the dip here. You can see acting as price support. Now it's bouncing off of it. This is going to be pretty much a battle zone tomorrow for bulls and bears. Bulls want to get above 420. If we get above 420, we're looking at that 433. If we don't get above 420, probably test it, reject again from it, then we're coming back down here to test this 404. If Nvidia breaks 404, we're going to this 396 level, because of how lack of volume is trading in this gap. It'll be very easy for Nvidia bears to take it down to 394 if this 404 and 400 breaks. 400 just be a psychological support. Sometimes it can break really easily, sometimes it doesn't, just due to the volume traded in that area. That's going to be key for me. Let's take a look at hourly. Same thing for QQQ. No hourly trend change for me. Just one move up. So this could potentially still be hourly downtrend if the bears can break today's low and yesterday's low, of course. All right, let's take a look at Tesla. Tesla confirmed that 4 hours head and shoulder bearish pattern yesterday. And now we're just back testing it. So you can see this is the left shoulder, this is the head, this is the right shoulder. Breaking the neckline. And once we break that neckline, we have a bearish following through. Bearish pattern happening. And we bounce off of this support zone right there. That support zone coincides with all the way back to this structure right here. So once we back test it, bulls are likely wanting to back test that in the neckline zone to see if there's going to be more bears coming in. So back test just means we come back to test it. Are the bears actually serious about taking the stock down? If not, there's lack of bear shorting here again, or sellers, then the price is obviously going to come back into the prior zone. So, and when we break this support, when we're breaking support, logically, people want to sell and short, right? That's what we got. Then we bounce off of support, and you see, this is what bulls don't want to see. Sorry, the bears don't want to see of such a big bounce compared to 100% of that drop, right? So now when we're back testing it, we got to see if the bears are going to be serious or not. If they're serious, they will reject from this level price. So we'll see. They'll likely test it tomorrow and see if they can or not. All right, take a look at Apple. Again, Apple, not much to chart. Been talking about this guy, just straight follow that EMA And as long as this keeps making new highs over new highs, QQ is not going to roll over. And so it has making a lot of new highs. But I am looking at this rising wedge. Let me see, rising wedge that can potentially shape up the top of Apple. Right? It's roughly like that. And roughly like that for rising wedge. So you can see resistance, rejection, 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 rejection. And we just got it there again today. Sorry, slight rejection. And we ran out of time at the end of the day. And you can see support, 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 support. So we're getting very close to the end of the pattern. Let's say it goes to the end of the pattern. It doesn't have to. It would take us for a while, actually. June, July 25th. Yeah, into next week. If we obviously do go to the end of the pattern, it's really tight already. You can see it's only 0.5% to breaking that, 1.6% to the downside to breaking that. So that's not a big deal. It can happen in one day. If we zoom in to even more on the 5 minutes, you can see we pretty much tested this exactly top. Ran out of time. You can see we don't have any market closed here. So I wouldn't say this is a rejection yet until we get more price action tomorrow. See if it comes down to it and retest this bottom of the support again. So that's going to be my guy for Apple. And I want to see whichever way Apple breaks on this chart, this rising wedge is going to be key for QQQ. So we'll keep watch on that. Amazon inside bar as well. So same thing. We want Amazon to break the top of this range, and bears will want to break the bottom of that range. Similar to like this structure, we have broken above this structure now, but we're just chopping around in a new zone now. So 127, strong support, 130, strong resistance, and we'll see whichever way bulls and bears want to break. Because if we do come below 127, that's a red flag for me because of how long we have chopped under that structure and finally gotten above it. So if we do break through that, that's a big red flag for me. And the bulls, we just want to break above and likely go to 132 if we do break above 130 because of the lack of resistance above us for Amazon. You see, nothing above us, just this little structure right there. So if we do break 130, very easily we'll get to 132 and as well as 134 due to lack of resistance. Google, still the weakest, but it joined Team Bull today a little bit. And you can see we have bounced flat because we gapped down in the morning. So daily downtrend is still continuing. And as long as it doesn't break above prior pivot, have a big enough bounce for a trend change, daily downtrend for Google will be our guide. So definitely wants to hold that 116. Otherwise, we're going to drop like a rock and fill that gap because there is not a lot of support in this area for the bulls. And for the bears, you want to obviously fill that gap. And for the bulls, we want to just definitely hold this 116 level and bounce. Right. Let's take a look at Microsoft. Microsoft also in a daily downtrend as well. See, we formed that yesterday when we broke that low. And today is a slight inside bar double top of yesterday. So bulls definitely want to break that double top on that 335 level and get a big enough bounce where the next drop can potentially change the trend to back to the bulls. So right now we don't have a big enough bounce yet. It's only 2.4%. Once we reach these around threes, it would be big enough bounce for the next potential move. For the bears, want to see this downtrend continuing and break today's and yesterday's low back to this structure. All right, that's all I got for you guys. And feel free to ask any questions in the comments if you guys got any questions on the market. And as well as feel free to subscribe. You guys made it this far. And tomorrow I'll likely be doing a commodities video and also the market as well. I'll be adding a few things like gold or silver and a couple of other things because there's a lot of you natural gas traders. And yeah, so that's what I'm seeing so far in the market. Make sure to check that hourly trend. It's going to be our guide for which way the market decides to go in the next couple of days. All right. And have a good rest of your guys' day. I'll see you guys tomorrow.